Hello viewers, you're watching QTV's Youth Dialogue and I am your host, Jenna Bosonko. It's always good to be back. We had a brilliant conversation the last time talking about Techifi, that is if we can make it in the Gambia or not. And according to the young people that I spoke to, it's not looking good. They're saying they can't make it here. The support is not there. The encouragement is not there. But I had about few who said you can make it here if the belief is there. But everyone stressed support. The support is not there. And recently we hear from the president of the Gambia. He reaffirms his commitment that he's in support of the development of young people through his National Development Plan, which we'll be talking about today. You know, the National Development Plan, it's been 4 to 5 years. Was it sustainable? Is it something that's sustainable? Is it attainable and all of that? If you talk to young people, they will tell you no. But to further understand this, I have two gentlemen in the studio who helped me analyze this, and also I went out and about to get to talk to other young people out there as to what they think about the National Development Plan in relation to young people, and also the National Enterprise Development Fund. The president is saying that we should have confidence in it. Is it doing what is expected of it when it comes to young people and all of that? So to help us answer that, we're joined by Abubakar Dafe from the National Enterprise Development Fund. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are also joined by Mohamed MS Ba, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, not here in that capacity. I would say board member activist. I think that fits the discussion today.
Ordinary citizen.
Ordinary citizen. Okay, we can go with that as well. So let's just reflect on the conversation that we had the last time. I had a conversation with you and Bakari Sonko, and we talked about tech if you're making it in the Gambia. I can remember you cited that sometimes young people do not spend their money in the right way. And Bakari was quick to say that that is not the case. It's just because the environment is not good enough. It has nothing to do with how we spend and all of that. And I went out and about to talk to other young people as well. Majority of them said the environment is not looking good. They don't have access to finance and all of that. It was a good conversation and the feedback from the public was good. I had few people tell me it should have been a phone-in conversation.
Even myself.
So they could do that and also give their opinion.
A lot of people told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good conversation. But you cannot also dispel or, just ignore the fact that the mindset also counts.
Okay.
And people's way of living also counts, because you can see Gambia, we don't develop the culture of saving. I think it's a problem.
Why, MS, so I'm safe.
No, but see, Lundaw law am known.
What?
At least danga wara safe. Man, I've seen a documentary called Hamantene. Munglawan ne ligi dafa own a big restaurant in the US.
Okay.
Munglawan ne from started the safe. He started, cleaning plates. From there, Musif Munglawan ne lumli. So fekene amna, let's say $2 or $5. At least 60% or 40% of course.
Well, MS, let's be realistic here. Rahas boli fufu. Rahas boli fufu.
No, actually,
in terms of income.
Come you are looking at the actual facts.
Okay.
I know the problem system. I'm not problem, but also ninyi tamit sen way of living tamit that they count.
Attitude.
So orientation be.
Yeah.
System. When you talk about the system, you have to also look at societal perceptions.
Yeah.
And then why system is more they force that societal orientation. People used to come to Gambia. People are coming to the Gambia and making it here. And then you so le wahe Europe a Gambia fan mola ginal. And now ne Gambia mola ginal. So le wahe ne Gambia accendika fan mola ginal. Then now ne Gambia mola ginal. So it has been tested. I told you initially. People are coming into the Gambia, you start from scratch. Jai Guru, Lifin, neka big time importers. Nyeneni, neka big time suppliers. So I think it's important. Environment vitamin if they count.
Wow.
It has a lot of things when it comes to the NDP, Wangane president has committed. Yagana wahlu. Commitment is not just has to be lip service centered. If you want to know whether government is serious in investing on a particular sector, go to the budget. Because so fande ekut, then dina neka kon amut because moy dépenser réew mi moy arranquer ci réew mi.
Why so whole se dépense pour youth and sport is not looking good.
It's less than 1%.
It's not looking good.
And then you have very good satellite institutions. Vision bi bahna, but those are underfunded.
Okay, so talking about satellite institutions,
yes,
we're joined by Abubakar Dafe. Abdul Kabir Dafe, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Dafe. He just talked about the fact that these satellite institutions have strong visions and missions in relation to supporting young people, but they're underfunded. Is that so? Is NEDI underfunded? Is that the reason why young people are saying they can't make it here?
Thank you very much, Geneva, and thank him for that deliberation. I think the topic is very important. First, before we come to whether we are underfunded or what, we need to look at why young people are saying they cannot make it in the Gambia. And for me, I've always say it's a matter of mindset. It's a matter of our belief. Personally, I've trained young people across every part of this country. I've gone to the remotest part of the Gambia. And I've seen the commitment, the determination, the hard work some young people are putting to succeed. A lot of young people who want to succeed really are succeeding. Of course, we accept the fact that there are challenges in terms of finance. It's across the board.
So, Mr. Dafe, this is going to be today a conversation wherein anybody can chip in at any time. It doesn't mean you're going to have the conversation to yourself. So when you say succeed, what is your definition of success? Because to young people, they have different definitions of success. For me, I have a different definition. I know you have a different one. And I know there's somewhere you want to see yourself as well. So what is your definition in this context?
For me, as an entrepreneurship trainer, when I say succeeding, I'm looking at in terms of sustenance of their business, of their micro enterprise. Whatever business initiative you have need to be self-sustaining. Self-sustaining in the sense that the business should be able to survive. The business should be able to take care of you in time to come, in 3, 4, 5 years. Looking at that business viability, it should be able to stand. And this is where I'm looking at from. And that's why I said access to finance has been a problem across the board. But there are commitments. If you look at, yes, of course, NEDI, just like any other institution, is underfunded. But there are commitments. For the first time, you know, there is a youth and sport development levy. And this has not been happening before. This comes out from the GSM levy. And there is a commitment that government has given to support youth businesses. And for the first time, there is a loan, there is a grant that we are facilitating for young people with viable business, young people with potential who really their business is captivating and they want to succeed, could tap in those resources and definitely make their business grow.
But how about those young people that you've made mention of, young people who have viable businesses? But how about those that don't even
have
start?
That is where I'm coming from. Because when it comes to business, there are startups that are potentials. You have some people who have grown. There are startups who are coming up, they have the ideas, they put in few things. There are other people who are potential entrepreneurs who have the ideas. The idea is very marketable, is very brilliant. We are working with them, we are supporting them. And if you come to my office every day, you see such young people who are coming. And as an institution, what we do is to mentor them, to coach them, to see how we can bring the best out of those ideas. And then they can also have access to startup capitals so that they would be able to. I think one thing that is important, and I've always said, there is no one way where we can tap resources. I've seen people I train, and after our training, the transport refund that we give them, they use that to start their business. It's a way to start something. And once you start something, it is consolidated in terms of prospects. People can come in and really invest. And we see a lot of young people are really doing that.
Yeah, I know training is very important. A lot of people have been trained, absolutely. You've made mention of loans, you've made mention of grants. But there are a lot of problems, like for instance, you know, when it comes to accessing those grants, you know, they say it is too elitist. Like for instance, even just filling a form is just like sitting in an examination hall.
I was going to come.
You understand, the form is so cumbersome, it's so critical, it's even make others not to be, you know, like motivated to come on. But I know there are efforts. Obviously, NEDI, I know NEDI. NEDI is a very good institution. Look at NYSS, it's a satellite institution, but its even capacity is limited, even NEDI. Because if you look at the chunk of the population are young people, and if you look at the the unemployment rate is on the rise, according to the labor report, the recent one, which is almost 40 to 45%. So now we have all these initiatives, but unemployment is on the increase.
Yeah,
unemployment is on the increase.
Exactly.
So what are those initiatives complementing? I know it's definitely an effort. I think definitely government need to be serious when it comes to funding these institutions and making sure that they work. And then also there should be you know, a sustainability plan where young people, if you give them grants, it has to be sufficient grants. And also that mentorship, which is, you know, whatever they are doing, they should be guided. Because gis nañ ñoo xamantene jox nañ leen xaalis bobu just in the name of giving them money, and then after ñu dugga ci poultry, just 1 or 3 months, poultry be up there. What is the essence? Nga ne okay, dimale nañ ki wali. But is that orientation correct?
So I think you brought up a lot of issues, so we're going to take this one by one, okay? So first of all, you talked about the fact that the form that these young people are given is not, you know, it's too complicated, it's too complex for young people to feel it. And I think I've experienced something like that because a young person came to me one time. The form is not from NEDI, the form is from another institution, and the person couldn't fill the form, and the person nearly got discouraged because she felt like, oh, this is too much, I won't be able to do it. So is there some form of counselors or mentors on ground who could actually guide these people in relation to how to fill the form? Because if that is not available, these people could run away.
I quite agree with that fact. You know, like I said, I've been across the country, and you've seen people who would complain that the form is very complex, and of course we are dealing with people who have not gone to school at all. And these are people who are into business, they want to succeed. So that is a fact. And what we do with our own grant application form, we try to simplify it. That is one way that we are trying to support them. The other way that we are doing with the TKFE application form, as an institution, we are mandated by an act of parliament to do mentorship and coaching. And for us, what we do, we have coaches across the country. And anybody we train, you would have to go through a 3-month or 6-month coaching program. And it becomes the mandate, the responsibility of that coach to guide you to fill those forms, get the necessary requirement. One thing I should also say, I think getting access to finance, there are processes that the young people need to respect. Because somebody without identification, without a national ID, could be doing very well, but might not benefit from those opportunities. Somebody without a TIN certificate can be doing very well, but may not be benefiting. Right now we roll out a grant form, and I see a lot of people who are doing very well don't even have an ID card. How do we support you? So these are challenges that are there, and unless we interact with them very well, we wouldn't be able to know that these are definitely challenges that
but about national identity card, young people sometimes complain about accessibility.
That they don't
affordability. Have affordability.
You know, it's across the board. These are cross-cutting issues. If one side is moving, the other side is not moving, there is still a challenge.
It won't happen.
Now, if you have to tell young people to pay $450, some even who are living around, maybe let's say Sierra, in other remote places, they have to pay extra $100 or $200. You know, sometimes, you know, like people who goes, they will tell them, you know, like accessing it is a problem. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes they will even, based on your, you know, because based on the feedbacks that we have.
That's at another level.
Yes.
And we don't have control over that. That's
I understand.
Level.
I understand. But this government is under the purview.
But for me, what I'm saying, I respect that there are a lot of young people who really are doing well. Some people who come to my office said, if you want to get support, of course you need to know that you have to register your business. And there are a lot of businesses out there that are not registered. And some are making commitment, they would come the following day, they would be able to register. Some come all the way from Basse to register their business. But that's one thing that I'm saying.
Why should people come from Basse to register?
That's another level.
And it's not
that is a problem.
It should have been
that's another level.
There's another issue.
That's another level.
I want us to interrogate another issue. Is young, there is another issue when it comes to like registering with the GPPA. Like if I am a small business.
That's a different one.
No, I understand. But it's part of the problem.
Yes.
Now, if you expect me to, okay, you do business with me like a government entity, and then government always have this kind of opportunities to give, to outsource. Now, if I am a small business and you ask me to pay $10,000, $5,000 to GPPA, and then you expect me to come and get maybe $3,000 from you, obviously, I will not bother myself to go and register. But without registering also, you might not get that opportunity to get from government. I think that should be revised. The GPPA compliance or registration or whatever should be looked at. When you are a Gambian business, you are thriving, or you are a young business entrepreneur trying to reach somewhere, government should encourage, at least probably they give you a certificate with a grace period of 2 years. You know, a GPPA can give that. When you are mature, government gives you contracts, then you can start paying them. So I think it has to be, that flexibility should be there.
And the decentralization of
a young person told me that there is a certain entity, a government institution, is owing him money, but they ask him to go and pay GPPA. And what government is owing him, if he pays GPPA, it's just like he's not
the money is going back
if I should comment on that, I think that's the process, and that's at the level of policy up there. I don't want to comment on that.
I understand.
The point I am saying, there are processes to support youth businesses, and I think young people understand this. The processes are, if you want to benefit from grant support, of course your business should be registered. Of course your business should be viable. And so if you don't have a registration, then that becomes a challenge. And whether the registration is done in Basse or is not done there, that is another problem. That's a challenge. We all recognize that, and I've been saying that all the time. But for me, the issues are, if it comes to GPP, I've always said this to a lot of young people. They would say, come on, government institutions are not giving contract to young people. I said, there are processes. For us as a government institution or any other government institution, for us to give you contract, you need to be GPP compliant. Because we are audited, every government institution is audited in terms of your procurement. And so if you give a contract to a young person who is not GPPA compliant, then that's a challenge. And that is where we always...
If you are reporting to the National Assembly, if I know if you are reporting to the National Assembly, it brings problem because you have to comply.
Exactly.
But now...
No, if I am to conclude, and that's why I'm saying, that's why for me, anytime we have trainings, we always say, one process is to make sure you register it at the level of KMC or at the level of the Attorney General Chamber. That is to formalize your business. But of course, if your business is viable and you have a lot of potential customers coming up, you want to win big contracts, you need to formalize your business.
You need to.
And that becomes the responsibility of the young person. And I think I am all in for young people. But we must say that in terms of opportunity, there has to be process. And people need to qualify for that process. And that is why
I absolutely respect that process.
I think that part needs to be respected, because I think this is something that I've dealt with before, talking about the issue of procurement and all of that, following due process. You know, and the corruption also can be fought in relation to this.
I absolutely respect due process, because a country cannot move without due process. That is absolutely. Democracy is even centered around due process. But if some of the policies are impeding the progress of your people, because due process laws are meant to regulate. Laws are meant to ensure that those that are benefiting from those laws are not impeded by those laws. You understand? For instance, if you ask a young person who is just rising, that if you don't register with GPP, I respect that you will not have government contracts. I respect that. But now, if you overcharge those people, I think it has to be something like, okay, now you just start a business. This is my opinion, obviously. It's either they pay a minimal price or the GPP give them a certificate so that they can have access to those government funds. Within a period of time, they start reviewing their business. If they are booming, then they start taxing them with those compliance.
So you're saying that there should be a waiver or something?
Exactly. Exactly. Because if not, they will not access bigger funds from government.
That is something we've been,
and it will not
that
work.
is something we've been talking. And we are looking into that to engage. But like what he's saying, I think there is a misconception somewhere. Because if your business is just coming up, you are a startup, I wouldn't expect you to go to the procurement compliance, because you wouldn't be getting $10,000, $50,000 a contract at the start.
At the start, sure.
We are talking about businesses that really made a mark, and you want to do business with government or with bigger
contracts
entities.
Yeah.
Of course, you need to get that compliance.
Okay, so you're saying that smaller businesses are not advised to go get that.
This is what I'm saying.
Because naturally, sensibly, they're not going to get it.
For instance, if I have a catering service, I am just starting, and obviously I have the capacity. I just went from school, obviously I have my certificates, I start a business, and then I have people who have already gained the skills and the qualification. Now, if you tell me that I cannot access those funds, how can I develop?
No, catering.
No.
Is catering considered?
Yes. I just want to give an example. I just want to give an example on that.
I
just want to give an example on that.
But now when do you expect them to rise, to
it's
go?
It's good that he mentioned that.
Okay.
We have a young person who is doing catering in Kuntaur. And normally when we do trainings, we want to prioritize young people in that sector. And because look at it, if you do catering with us for a 5 days training, you are expected to get not less than $100,000.
Okay.
And that's good.
Those are the kind of things we are.
So that is something that we encourage. Get a GPPA compliance. It's $5,000 and you can get a $100,000 business in 5 days.
Yes.
So that is something that is encouraging.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying. If, for example, you look at your return, that's what you look at. If you look at your return and it's huge, of course we would encourage you that you're getting something big, and it's better that you get compliance.
Yeah, but that is if you already know that you're going to get this. Like for instance, the person knows that yes, Nedi is coming to me, so obviously I will register. But those that they're yearning to get those things, and then they're just starting, they have the skills, they're Gambians. Obviously, I think there should be a flexibility when it comes to that.
But
that is my belief.
MS, I don't know. Like he said, he's on the side of young people. I'm on the side of young people too. But I'm just trying to strike a balance here in relation to the two. I think I might have to kind of agree with what he's saying in relation to the fact that if you do not actually test it and know what your income is going to be, you cannot just go jump up and get to register.
But I think that $5,000 is definitely, they should look into it.
If
you are a startup business, maybe they can charge you $500 within one year. They look at you, maybe they will be monitoring your outputs or outcomes or whatever, and then they will help you. I think also it's not only at the business side, but young people are underemployed. You are working, but what you earn is going into transportation. You cannot even help yourself. It's a problem here. I've been talking to a lot of young people who are working, and then even over time, they work beyond the 8 hours. And then what they will tell you is, we have been exploited. And then we don't have other opportunities. And now, how can we address this as a government? Is to bring sound policies, sound laws that will address that. Because I don't expect you as a Gambian to be in the Gambia and being exploited. As a young person, when are you going to have money to also live a decent life? That's a problem. Even that alone is a stress.
That is why
we've been even seeing people going to the back way. How many interceptions? Just last month. 2 times the immigration, about 58, I think 57, 58 people. Another 58 people. So, and young people are perishing. What they will tell you is these are problems.
That is why
even government payment is underemployment.
That is why the last time we were talking about as individuals who are even having this conversation, are we where we want to be as individuals as well? That is something that we need to, and we all said, this is not where we want to be. We obviously want to reach some other place, but obviously we're not going to go through the back way. I
think, Jennifer, there is a problem, we all accept that. But for me, speaking from this aspect of entrepreneurs, I think that is one way we need to promote, because people want to live a decent life. You need to be into business. You need to be an entrepreneur.
I think that's the way forward.
Micro enterprise. That is when you can employ yourself.
And be
independent. Every economy everywhere in the world works because young entrepreneurs are supported.
Of course.
Because there is investment in terms of micro businesses.
The skill labor.
That is what is paying taxes. And that's why the country will work. And of course, talking about young people, I've trained the shipwreck survivors.
Yeah.
I've trained 30 of them in North Bank. I've trained 36 in Brikama. And some of them, in fact, the first day when they came, they said, "Bro, man, now I'll go back."
Oh.
But after the training, some of them come back to me and said, "Come on, I think this is worthy. We need to stay."
And do
because
something.
if you look at each of them,
sometimes
how much they have
given them
exactly.
the platform.
If you look at how much, like somebody was telling me, how much you have spent on that journey is close to $300,000.
Wow, look at that. That's a huge
Because
money.
the boat alone, to pay in the boat is around $30,000.
Look at that.
And I said, come on, invest $30,000 in a micro business here. Give it 1-2 years, you would be able to go somewhere.
But there are other factors as well affecting that 30,000 business investment that will not make it work. You know, we talked about that as well.
Societal
societal factors
people
like
will come and then
not patronizing you and patronizing foreigners instead.
And they will also
yes.
Because
they will also borrow you, and then you also don't differentiate your capital from your profit.
Exactly.
And that's why
these are the things you need to tell them.
That's why capacity building is key. That's why training is important.
But how good are these trainings? That's the big question, because they happen a lot. We see these trainings all the time, but how structured and sustainable are they?
Is always important. That's why we go to university. That's why we teach people at university, because training is important.
Those are at least maybe structured because they're
that's
university
structured.
level.
And even our trainings are structured because that is why somebody will come at the end of the training and say, come on, I think this is working. I think I can stay back in the country and do something.
Okay.
That tells you that it is working.
Okay, so is there a monitoring mechanism after this training?
Of course there are monitorings.
Okay.
Because why I'm telling you this, the reason why people will sit down and say my business didn't work because of the perception of the society is because they are not trained entrepreneurs. They are not really skilled to get into business.
Okay. Yeah, but
because
I think
getting into business, the first thing is to look at the risk factor. Is to do a SWOT analysis and a smart way of knowing what works, the market research, knowing what works and what is not working. And once you want to get there, of course there are risks. We always tell them there are risks in the business. But are you ready to get to that business? The first thing is to ask yourself, do you have the right temperament? Do you have the right environment? Do you have the right foresight to get to that business that you want to get? And this is what we always tell anybody that we want to train. First, you need to know that really the business, it's something that you can work with. You have the interest, you have the temperament, and you have the right mindset to be able to succeed. This is the key question for me. I always tell you.
But also
because the difference between
it doesn't come in the blues.
And that's why I'm coming. That's why I'm coming.
What happened is even our orientation, you have to question our schooling system.
Sure.
That's at a different level.
But come on, these are problems.
I am a university lecturer. I am an adjunct at the university. And in fact, I think one of my questions that I said for this exam is to look at the education system. And that's why I'm saying that's at the different level.
But when it's still a problem.
When it comes, it's a problem. And that's why as the macro level.
We are just consuming.
When it comes to the micro level, for me to rise up, for me to succeed, I need to believe in myself first. And this is what we always tell the young people. There are a lot of young people, if Geneva wants to do a fashion business, will say, no, I'm just killing time. We don't expect you to grow in that business. We expect you to have all what it takes to have the enthusiasm, to have the commitment to say, yes, I want to do this thing and I want to succeed.
Okay. So due to time constraints, quickly, we're going to head right on to the issue of grants. How are these grants given to young people and the follow-up mechanisms that are put in place? And sometimes you speak with young people, they're like, grants is an encourage. So I don't know.
Well, grants is a tutti.
Wow.
I know MS knows better because he deals with young people. It's one very complex environment.
It is.
Because you can do your best, but your best may not be enough with some other people. But I can show you that the grant is very transparent. We have a committee that comprises people from the ministry, people from the National Youth Council, those from the department, from the board of NEDI, and it has to go through a process. And so those who qualify will definitely get. It's $50,000 for startups.
You have to increase it.
So the $50,000, do you explain to these young people how they can actually break it down to utilize it? Or you just give them the $50,000 and say go and use it?
No. If you want to do, if you're a tailor, you want to get into tailoring, you list what you want and that will be procured for you.
With the 50,000?
With 50. You have to indicate how much that 50,000 can exhaust.
Okay.
Because it's for startups, like he is saying. We don't expect like somebody. Yes, it's for startup people who have the ideas.
Sometimes it's important you don't give them the cash.
It's
because
better to actually get it.
we've seen people who have been giving cash. They use those cash and then went back to the
yes.
back way.
Yes,
I've seen
happened.
that. I've seen that, and also people who have been even taxi. They've been given taxi. They sold taxi.
And them definitely.
You know, I think the orientation number one is I think we have to revisit how we catch people when they are young, how we orient our young
but seems
people
that is beyond Mr. Dafe, it seems.
It is, I know, obviously. And I know, obviously, there are certain things you cannot disclose. But NEDI need to be expanded. It should not just be centered around the Greater Banjul area. I know it is difficult to go and train people. It should be decentralized.
Sure.
NYC, it is decentralized, but the regional committees are not
empowered.
Yeah, even what NYC is getting from government is obviously their operational and operational cost and some of the things.
And in relation to NYC,
but they have to all these satellites. Even NYC, NYSS is not like giving what it entails. Like for instance, I believe NYSS would have been something, an institution that will bring all young people after grade 12. You are at NYSS, and then you will be oriented, you know, discipline-wise, nationalism, patriotism, all those kind of things. That kind of vigorous training will be inculcated in your mindset. Then you are prepared to go to the university. Without that, you cannot even, without that certificate, you might not even get a ministerial position, or if you want to vie for any public
That's
office.
another topic. That is another topic, MS.
Course,
I think, MS, today you're just ready to take us beyond what Mr. Dafe probably can discuss. But like you said, all of the things that you're saying involves probably other departments and other ministries. And this is not directly under Mr. Dafe. But all of these things need to be solved for us to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. Just recently, we were talking about maternal mortality. And when the representative came, he talked about the fact that just us cannot change this. This has to do with road structures and all of that to ensure that the pregnant woman reaches there on time. So I guess that is the direction that you're taking us to, which is not a bad, idea.
It's not a firefighting approach, but a holistic
approach. Is not a bad idea. I just hope this was a panel whereby we have all the representatives from all of these departments, just to make sure they're here to complement you for us to gradually change all of these things.
I know that.
And when you
they are doing good, but
and when
the capacity is still
not there.
Lacking.
And the president talked about that we should have confidence in NEDI. I just hope that he will also pump in some money and increase your capacity to make sure that young people have confidence in the work that you're doing.
That is it, because I've always say, you know, we are not into the areas that MS is. We are not too into the everyday activities, because I've said business to succeed is not do it today and get the results today. It's beyond that. And like he said, he's looking at it at a broad level. I like that, but we have very specific mandates. And of course, that's what we are doing to the best of our ability. Like I said, there are challenges, serious challenges, because young people constitute a larger chunk of this society. Dealing with that, no resource is enough. No matter how government invests, it wouldn't be enough. But like I said, I applaud government for the fact that for the first time we are giving grant and loan. That is directly from government to young people. It has not happened before. And that's why the president is saying that we must support NEDI and the youth initiative, because this is happening for the first time, and to make sure young people who want to do business are supported. We've trained 300 young people, build their capacities on business, and those 300 could go out, get either the loan, which is $500,000, or get the grant.
That's just that's a 0.000000.
Of course, the number may be
0.00 something percent of the population, but it has to start somewhere.
And the beautiful part,
I really respect that. I think NEDI has been doing.
And I think the beautiful part of this whole thing is that when one young person gets that grant and becomes successful, then it means another young person can be employed. Because that is the trend that I've seen young people are taking when they have businesses. They strongly employ their fellow young people, and at the end of the day, those people get to also grow. But like I said, in as much as the president came out out to say he wants us to trust Nedi. We're also calling on him to support Nedi and to support all the satellite institutions that has to do with young people, and also increase the budget eventually, because this is the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
2022 budget.
You know, these are two ministries. Young people is a high percentage. Sports as well, if we wanted to develop, then we get to support them, the likes of Gina Bass and all of them. So due to time constraints, I'm afraid we're going to let you go, but just give us your final words before you go. The president says we should have confidence in Nedi. Why should we have confidence in Nedi?
I think every young person should have confidence in Nedi, because we are there to build the capacity. And I've always said, for us to grow this country is only through micro enterprise. It's only through enterprise. There is no other way around.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And that's why everybody, not only the president, him and all of you should support us.
But like I said, Mr. Dafe, I think more should be done, you know. More engagement to young people should be done. Take if this is, young people talk about YEP more than they talk about Nedi. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, because they have more visibility. You people patronize them better. Of course, I respect Tekefi.
I know I will have a good communication strategy. Bring in people who know the communication and then help you.
I
work brand.
I need to say this thing. I work with Tekefi, particularly the GIZ. And we've built, through them, we have 6 micro-processing centers in Elara, where they supported us through the young people to get processing machines, milling machine, granule paste oil milling machine, and this is to support them in that sector of their business. We've trained, through GIZ, we've trained 160 just in 2021 in skill areas, in beekeeping, bread making, food processing, and horticulture. So they are doing well. They are also complementing the effort of government.
But we want to see Nedi, that is government satellite institution, to actually stand out as well, because it is your responsibility, not responsibilities of donor agencies or agencies that are funded internationally to get things done. It is Nedi to get things done.
That's why I said that is true. That's why government is coming. We need more funding to really, like MS is saying, 300 is just a drop in the ozone to support everybody. But that is resource constraint. I think government is trying, Nedi is trying to stand out, to support more young people in terms of capacity building.
All in MS, munyo lilen, munyo defaral len sen communication, wala ngeen oma, ngeen fema halis bu bari, munyo wone len. Anyway, count on our support. Like you said, it's not like we're trying to differentiate any project or any institution. Like I always say, Youth Dialogue is totally open. Just let me know if there's anything that you want to put out there in relation to young people. Our doors are open. Thank you so much, Mr. Dafe, for joining us on this program. Hopefully, maybe sometime next year or in the next 6 months, we will see what Nedi has done, and we'll bring you back here and hold you accountable like we did today. Thank you so much. So we will take a short break. So I went out and about to talk to different young people, to ask them if they know Nedi, what the role of Nedi is, and also the president talked about the fact that they should have confidence in Nedi. Why should they have confidence in Nedi, and what kind of businesses do they want to venture in? So let's take a look at that, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Fatou Jawo to continue this conversation. Do stay tuned.
Nedi man xawma la lay wax ci loolu, you know, waaye su nekkee comme gars yi ñëw pour jàppale youth si, waaw c'est a good thing. It's a good thing, you know. You see tamit mooy loolu daal, you see dañ ko dee bëgg a make fii nag, dañ ko dee mën a make fii nag too much, you know. Suñ daanaka dañuy liggéey suñ fédopee ñu jël yoon bi mooy yoonu suuf bi ni baakwee bi nii ba léegi sax ñu dinañ fone ne comme mu ngi noppale ko waaye jite ak yow fa dem.
Man lu ma am pour wax gars yi moo nekk because man maa ngi def business, man salon laa nekk ni def waaye man moom obviously amut government amut family, man kenn musut maa dimbale si dara, man si lu ma nekk man maa try bam taxawalal boppam sant yàlla maa ngi dimbale suma boppa, maa ngi am doom bu jigéen mu ngi dem school, maa ko fayal school, maa ko nekk di fayal school si suma business bi, waaye kenn musut maa dimbale xam nga. Te government bi dañ war a dimbale ndaw yi because ñun ñooy ndawi ëllëgee tamit, so foog ñu dimbale ñu suñu dimbale tam moo tax dëkk bi problems yaa ngi bari every day because ku am liggéey yaa ngi xëy di dem liggéey fooguma problems yi dina gën a wàññeeku. So amul ku la dimbale tamit xam nga fasuloo jom doo mun a def dara, obviously foog nga nekk di toog si campé yi wala ngay def leneen lu ñaaw. So lu ma mun a wax ñu daal Nedi I don't know nañ try daal ñu génn ñuy waxaa nit ñi pour nit ñi mun a leen a xam because man xaw ma leen te keneen ak keneen xamul leen.
Yeah, of course, it's a good news. If that is the case, then it's a good news because it will play a role. It will help to curb out the illegal immigration, so which is affecting the society today, especially the youth, because we have a lot of people dying in the back way. I myself, my younger brother, talking to you, he has a family. He left a family, but he died in this illegal immigration. So it has affected everybody in either one way or the other. So it's a fight. It's not just only for the government, but for all of us, because it affects every family. Every house you visited, you might have, if not, there might be somebody or anyone or any other person might be affected directly or indirectly. So it's a fight for all of us. It's a good initiative, definitely.
So yow lan nga foog ne moo tax ndaw yi di gën a dem si backway bi.
mooy ñàkk a job bi employment bi yooyu noonu fi lu fi gën a nekk mooy comme employment bi hard working labor ba fi gën a bëri booy foofu la ñuy dem jàppa suñu amee lu ndaw rek mooy loolu doo ko mën a continuer mooy hard working labor bi daf lay war métti so doo ko mën a continuer nekkul part time la nekkul lifetime job la moo tax booy di leen.
man am naa ñu maa liggéey because man maa ngi ni man employé naa ñetti nit si suma salon bi rëyut waaw salon bu ndaw la waaye employé naa ñetti nit ñu nekk di liggéey si suma onda suma mag mu fa ak ñaari jànxa ñu ne ngay liggéey si man te at least nu mu bon ma leen di dimbale waaye man tamit because weer bi dafa dee because business Gambia ñëpp xam nañ ñu mel sometimes mu dox sometimes du dox sometimes sax on xaalis ngay jël invest ko foofu noonu xam nga te soo amul dimbal weer bi su dee doo mun a am sax li ngay fayee sa staff si te loolu dafa métti torop sa on xaalis waaye su fekkee yaa ngi am dimbal dafa tane yaa.
so yow ban façon dimbal ngay wax ni.
comme suñu amee ñu jox xaalis pour ñu mun a yokk suñu business bi mu gën a dem kanam wala ñu ibi because man su ma éene moo nekk ne before next year before this December coming ma ibi beneen business waaye xam nga soo amul xaalis nooy def loo am yaa ngi ko dugal si problème si kër yi sa rakay famille bi ak yooyu noonu soo doo mun a am xaalis bu taxaw si yow.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short break. So in that break, I went out and about to interview different people about Neddy, if they know Neddy, if they know the responsibilities of Neddy, and why should they trust Neddy or eventually venture into entrepreneurship through their support. So those questions were answered there. I am joined by MS Ba. Don't call him Mohammed, I say MS Ba. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm joined by Fatou Jawo. So we just brought Fatou because she's a woman, just to bring that feminine touch in the conversation.
Very powerful.
And I know. So you've been sitting there for so long and listening to this conversation with Mr. Dafe in relation to the work of Neddy. I know MS here was trying to challenge him a lot in relation to different issues. He talks about the fact that some of the issues are not under his jurisdiction. He can't solve these things. You know, he can just talk about things that are in his area. So how do you think this issue can be solved as a Gambian, you know, the access to finance issue, the fact that young people are saying that they can't take it in the Gambia, munuñ ko méegee Gambia, ñoom foog ñu dem si biti pour méeg ko, the environment is not conducive for them.
Jennifer, thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure to be on this platform,
sure,
especially with my brother here. The conversation was really honest, and I think it is worthwhile too. This question entails a lot,
sure,
and I would attempt to answer what you're saying. But I believe that the issue of Neddy, true, they don't have the probably visibility for people to know what they are doing. That is one aspect of it. Because if you are to do an opinion poll on what is Neddy and what they are up to, it will be very low for young people to tell you, really, we know. And I think that has to do with communication. And that is one aspect of it. Because if you don't know about something, there is no way that you know what they can offer for you. Yeah, so that is one part of it. And the other part is that, you know, it is the fact that it is a government institution directly supported by the government makes the thing a better complex too. Because, you know, most of the time government works with budgets. And Neddy, for example, is budgeted for. under the national budget.
Yeah.
So if the budget allocation only talks up deals with their operational cost and things like that, you don't expect them without grants to be doing certain things and to also do things that are within their mandate.
Yeah.
So I believe the issue of funding, it's one issue that is really a setback to them, because whatever we are doing, Jenaba, funding is very important. So it's just like if government is setting up that institution, it's very good to set up institutions, but what makes that institution operating is the most important part of it. Because you can have a house, but if you don't have a bed, you don't have a kitchen, you don't have any, you cannot live in that house.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't have showers and things like that. So you have NEDI as an institution, but if you don't have the operational cost to make sure they do what they are supposed to do,
they won't
obviously
make it.
They cannot make it.
Sure.
So that is one aspect of it. But like the discussion outlined, the government for the first time supported NEDI in such a way that they're able to give grants to almost like 300 young people.
Which is a good move, we have
I
to
think
agree.
that is really a commendable initiative or effort by the government. It is something that we can say thank you, but on the other hand, we wouldn't say thank you because it's part of their mandate.
Yes.
It is something that was long overdue, things that they should have been doing, because the same government has been telling us, like, since time immemorial, the young people are the future. The population, like almost 70% of or 60% of the population are young people. We really are committed to helping young people, but the institutions that stand to help young people are neglected.
Because MS just talked about NYSS. I can remember NYSS when I was way younger. I used to hear a lot about them.
Yeah,
but
they were more effective
they were,
than
they had a lot of potential at that time. But right now, that is not the case. I just saw them come up with an activity recently while I was reading the news. And my comment was the fact that I was looking forward to this.
And could you imagine NYSS were having farms and all those farms, you know, had a problem. And there was a time I could remember the past legislation, I think the fourth legislative, you know, during Jammeh's era. There was a time that, you know, MPs were even suggesting to you know, revoke NYSS, to remove, because what are they doing? They're just spending, and then, but they are not giving out. But now, until then, they've seen that now they're trying to do something.
I think NYSS can be used as a strong tool to actually, like you mentioned,
to reorient the society.
Yes.
To build their capacity on skills. To, you know, prepare them to go to the university. Like, for instance, if all those that are going to grade 12, for instance, we have NYSS centers all over. You train them on, you know, like security orientation, you give them on nationalistic orientation. You give
I think that's a good idea.
You know, issues around that. Then when they go to the university,
because due to time constraints, we're coming back to you, Fatu. What does Techifi mean to you? Let's bring this to a personal level. You are a lawyer. You know, what does Techifi mean to you as an individual? And do you think you're techie yet? Might be a tough question.
Yeah, but I will try. You know, to say danga teki and things like that come the difference in nitki. Okay, personally, it was all my vision to become a lawyer.
Okay.
And then I had the support from my family to become a lawyer. So in that regard, I can say tekina in a sense. Now I am a lawyer. So the part is for me to play that part of it to get to wherever that I am.
But she mentioned she had family support.
Yeah, so now
I'm
getting there. A young person that doesn't have somebody that is strong enough to support them to achieve their dreams. You know, for that person, you cannot say the fateki. Koku take it because the only time she can take it, it's for the right institutions to help, because that is why we have a government. That is why we have this Ministry of Youth and Sports. So the young people need to be helped in order for them to take a fee. So to me, as personally, take a fee, it's something that we can really drive and it can work. But also mindset is very important, because even like I said, I have a family that supported me, but if I had the mindset that I cannot study law and become a good lawyer or a better lawyer in Gambia, there was no way that nobody can convince me to do it.
I think everything has to do with some sort of additional
of the young people, it's very important. I believe we can make it here. if the environment is created for us, and then we have the proper training and the proper orientation. But it starts with our orientation.
Yeah.
One is self-esteem. No matter how hard things are, and there is no world that no country that has things on an easy ride. Those countries that we are looking forward to today, they started somewhere. But it doesn't have to be everything like the government needs to do everything. We
At
have
some
to be
point
honest,
that has
as
to be
young
clear.
people.
Yeah.
They need to give us the enabling environment, give us that budget that if you know, if you put it in young people, it will help them. But aside that, Jenaba, the government only need not to give us that budget to be put in young people, because not every young person want to be an entrepreneur or a sportsman or something.
Yeah.
There are young people, majority of them want to be lawyers, doctors, and so if you don't pay their school fees in that sector and they don't have families to support, they would sit down and they wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that is part of it. And job creation too, it's another thing. Let them make sure they have companies and parastatals and investments that will attract young people to come and work.
Yeah.
So that is it.
Yeah, I think due to time constraints, I'm very sad that this conversation has to end soon. But I think, Fat, you have to come back just so we'll continue this, because there are a lot of things that we need to talk about. I'm planning to have us as young people and as a program review the National Development Plan, not just the aspect of young people, but we're going to look at the plan in general as young people and put our voices out there in relation to how far government has gone in relation to achieving this. So that is an invitation for the both of you for us to do that as we go before December 4th. So this is not going to be just a disclaimer. This is not just going to be a hunt or something for the government, but I think the National Development Plan is our plan.
It's a plan.
As a GAM. It's a plan. It's not by NPP. It's not by UDP or any development plan.
Yeah, when they came up and said National Development Plan, it's for everybody. So it is a plus for us to review and see how far we have gone.
Any country must have a tool, a guide. That is the tool. Because even the budget formulation process
MS, I think our time is totally finished. Thank you so much, Fatou Jao and Mohammed MS Ba, for coming on this program. Like I mentioned, we have an appointment in relation to taking a look at this, but I just had to do that disclaimer about the National Development Plan. Like we mentioned, every country has a plan, and the plan is not meant for a specific political party, but for Gambians in general. So as time goes on, we'll be reviewing this. So till I come your way next week with other young people doing extremely well across the country. Bye for now.